Hello everyone, Rebecca here from Stocking My Pantry, and in today's video I'm going to be making and canning Paw Paws Bywater BBQ sauce from the book, the all-new Ball Book of Canning and Preserving. The thing that makes this particular recipe easy is that it uses all shelf-stable ingredients that you can have on hand at any time. There's no chopping or anything like that. It is a little bit more complex than some recipes simply because it has a lot of ingredients, but you can definitely get them ahead of time. A lot of them you'll already have in your pantry, and the ones you don't, are easy to get from pretty much any grocery store. I'm going to be canning this in my Nesco canner, but you can use any water bath or steam canner that you have. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the recipe. It says that it makes 6-pint jars. Now I can only fit 5 pints in my Nesco, so I might have some extra that I just stick in the fridge because I don't think that would be worth running a whole separate canner load for that. Okay, so I want to just read the description in the book. It says, take your barbecue to New Orleans. This spectacular sauce has all that mouth-watering deep South sauce with hints of sweet and a hot spicy kick. So that's what we're kind of going for here, is sweet and spicy. So we're going to start off by, now it says stir together the first 9 ingredients, which are essentially your dry ingredients. Now I didn't have enough of these small jars to have each of the spices in a separate jar, so I've combined some of them, but I'll read them off to you as I add them into this pot. So we start off with 2½ cups of brown sugar. And you can see that it's packed. That's what the recipe called for. So now I'm having the fun of getting it out of the jar. There it goes. 2 tablespoons of kosher salt and 3 tablespoons of garlic powder. 3 tablespoons of onion powder, 3 tablespoons of dry mustard, a tablespoon of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of paprika, I'm using smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of ground red pepper, and a ½ teaspoon of chili powder. So I have all of that in this jar here. Okay, so now we're going to mix all of the ingredients together. 64-ounce bottle of ketchup. I looked on the back and it says about 107 servings that are 1 tablespoon each. So I basically just did the math, and this is about 6 and I think it was 6/8 cups of ketchup. And so I needed to add 1 1/3 cups, whatever the exact amount was this 64-ounce bottle of ketchup and 1 1/3 cups of ketchup. Now, as you know, it's always hard to get all of whatever it is out of a container like this. So the good news is that I need to add some other liquidy ingredients. I'm going to put them in here and shake it up, and that's how I'm going to get the rest of the ketchup out. Okay, so I need 2 cups of water, 1 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, and 1/4 cup of apple cider. I'm just using apple juice. Okay, and I'm just going to put the lid on. And then, whoa. Then we'll shake it up. And pour that in. And you can see now that the bottle is completely empty of ketchup. Next, I need 1/3 cup of honey. And by the way, I'm using this little electric burner. It's one of those cheapy burners that I got from Walmart, and it takes a little while to heat up compared to a regular stove. So I'm going ahead and turning it on while I put the rest of the ingredients in. Okay, so I need to add 1/3 cup of honey. A 1/4 cup of Creole or Dijon mustard. I didn't see Creole mustard at the store, so I'm using Dijon mustard. That's a 1/4 cup. I'm using a 1/2 cup measure, so don't know what happened to my 1/4 cup, so I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And in this single jar, which it looks kind of murky and yucky because of what's in it, but I have 2½ tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of bottled lemon juice, and 1 tablespoon of, it actually calls for fiery fermented hot sauce, which is one of the recipes in this book, which I have not made. And so I'm just using a tablespoon of Chipotle Tabasco sauce in that. Okay, so I'm just going to use this whisk to combine all of the ingredients. Okay, they appear to be pretty well combined, and of course, as it simmers, the brown sugar will kind of melt, and they'll combine all the more. So now it says to bring to a boil, reduce the heat to medium, and simmer uncovered for 20 minutes or until sauce is slightly thickened, stirring often. So again, I've put it on, starting off, I put it on a high heat, and I'm just going to bring it to a boil. Once it comes up to a boil, I'll turn the heat down on this little burner. And I just wanted to say that this is actually the second time of me using this burner. This burner gets things to a good boil pretty easily. And so I'm just gonna bring it to a boil, and then right now I have it on maximum, and then I'll turn it down just low enough to keep it simmering for 20 minutes. Okay, the sauce has now come to a complete boil, and I've reduced the heat, and I'm going to simmer it for 20 minutes. And I do need to stir pretty frequently during this time just to make sure it doesn't scorch. I'll bring it back when it's all done simmering, and then we'll jar it up and can it. Okay, the sauce has been simmering away for 20 minutes, so I'm going to turn off the burner, and then we're going to go ahead and fill our jars. Okay, so I don't remember if I already mentioned, but if I didn't, I've heated my jars and the water in my Nesco canner, so I'm going to go ahead and take the jars out now, and we're going to fill them to 1/2 inch headspace. Okay, so for those of you who use the Nesco canner or the Carry canner, just a little tip. I have 4 wide mouth pint jars and 1 regular mouth pint jar, and that just makes it easier to remove the jars. I am using my my Nesco to steam can. If you are going to water bath can, then you would want to use all wide mouth jars because the regular mouth is a little too high to cover with 2 inches of water. And by the way, let me just say that steam canning in the Nesco is not approved by the company. Steam canning itself is approved. I have a video on how I adapt the Nesco for steam canning, so be sure to check that out. But if you prefer, then you can by all means a water bath can, and of course you can steam can or water bath can in the canner of your choice. All right, let's go ahead and fill the jars. I've already spilled quite a bit of sauce, which it seems like no matter what, I end up kind of making a mess when I am canning or doing just about anything. I'm going to debubble and check the headspace. I'm sure on some of these I already have too much headspace. Some I might have not enough, so I'll adapt it after I've debubbled all of the jars. Okay, so again, going for a 1/2 inch headspace. This one needs more. Actually, I think I'm going to need more in all of them except for this one. This one I actually have a little too much. So basically, all you're going to do is take from jars that have too much and add more to jars that don't have enough. Okay, I'm pleased with the headspace on all of them, so now I'm going to wipe the rims and get the lids on. Okay, now I did make quite a bit of mess. But even if you don't think you made a mess, wipe the rims just to be on the safe side. You can see how much mess I made. Okay, now we'll get the lids on. And we'll add the rings fingertip tight. Okay, now since the barbecue sauce is hot and the jars were hot, the jars are too hot to handle, so I'm going to use a jar lifter to put them into the canner. Okay, we'll put the lid on. It is in the exhaust position. It's going to stay, the valve's in the exhaust position. It will stay in the exhaust position the entire time because this is a water bath or steam recipe. So now I'm going to go ahead and put in the time. The time for this is 15 minutes adapting for altitude. Due to my altitude, I will be adding 5 minutes on. Okay, I'm going to press water bath steam. I'm putting in 20 minutes. And pressing start. This digital chase is going to go around for a little while. Once there's a steady stream of steam going, I will press start again and the countdown timer will begin. If you need to see the whole process, I do have a separate video on how to water bath can in the Nesco and also one on how to steam can in the Nesco. So be sure to check those out if you need further help with that. And again, if you're using another canner other than the Nesco or the Carry, just follow the manufacturer instructions for water bath or steam canning in your canner. So interestingly enough, I ended up with, I probably have a couple of pints worth still in the pot. So I may actually run another canner. I'll bring it back when everything's done processing and so you can see the finished product, and also I'll let you know at that time what I decided to do with the extra. Okay, so the jars are all out of the canner. I did end up running a second canner load. I ended up with the 5 pints that I put in the canner, and then I also had 4 half pints. So you can see here. And so that ends up being 7 pints that it yielded. It's supposed to be 6 according to the recipe. So just be prepared for that. So what I ended up deciding to do is I just waited. I do have 2 canners, but I decided just to wait until the first one finished processing since it didn't have a super long processing time. And then I just started with a fresh, with the second batch. I reheated the barbecue sauce so it would come up to temperature before I canned it. So you can definitely do that if you have only one canner, or if you just, for whatever reason, like me today, I didn't want to pull out my other canner and use it. That's totally fine. I always let things cool down a little bit before I take them out of the canner. And so I didn't really give a lot of extra time for the canner to cool. Plus, it had only been processing for 20 minutes. So I felt fine running 2 batches pretty much, side by side, or one after another is, I guess, a better way to say it. But anyway, it looks like one of the jars hasn't sealed yet, but I've only had them out of the canner for about an hour, so I'm not concerned about that. If by chance it doesn't seal, it's what we'll use first. I'm already planning to serve this with our lunch today, and speaking of that, I did give it a little bit of a taste, and it's delicious. It's really good. It's sweet. It does have a bit of a kick to it. So if you don't like spicy, you can leave out the cayenne pepper, no problem, and it's still going to have a ton of great flavor. And even if you only moderately like spicy like I do, I felt like it was a good amount of spice. So it's not overdone, but just be aware that it does have a little bit of a kick to it. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you would like the video, and if you haven't already done so, if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.